Just wanted to take a minute to record real quick. I'm just going to go ahead and get going on this. And this, what I'm doing is not so much to say, okay, YouTube, but it is a way for me to record things as I'm looking in the mirror of myself and of my life. And we all have gone through different things. And, we go through grief, and it's said that grief is different for everybody. They experience grief different. So maybe it's grief over the loss of a loved one. Maybe it's grief over a divorce, um, loss of a job, loss of a lifestyle, loss of hopes and dreams and aspirations that maybe other people didn't allow us to have. They wrote on our window, so to speak. When you're a kid, you would you blow on the window and then you would write it. But didn't it just annoy you if your little brother or little sister came and just wrote on your window? It's like, that's fine. Or if it was already frosty, right? And we go through life allowing other people to write on our window, or even ourselves making a beautiful design and erasing it ourselves. So then we reach a point in life, we're 60, 65, waiting for that Social Security check. And then we ask the question, what have I done? Where do I find meaning or joy? I've met the, I've accomplished the things. I've studied, I've had the job, raised the kids, drove the car, had the clothes, whatever. And then there you are, just there, right? And after accomplishing so many things, oftentimes there's an emptiness that's there. And now we spend a lot of time and energy, maybe everyone's trying to lose weight. And this is what has brought me to this video today, because like everyone else, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to use this new tool on the market, you know. And so for all of my adult years, I've been doing that, trying to make myself a self-improvement project. When I didn't need to improve on myself before, it's just that the people I hung around with, they all were talking about diets. And so I just thought I would start doing that too. That was the biggest mistake I ever made. So here we've been on that. And here it is now, is the end of December, going into the time where people go into panic mode. Well, 2025, I didn't lose weight. Definitely 2026, I'll work harder. I'll do this, I'll do that. And so we start to tell ourselves, we failed, so to speak, or whatever. So, but this year I'm going to try this new tool, or maybe you're already on it. And so one of the more popular tools, are the GLP-1s, weight loss medications, the different ones. And the reality of it is, at the end of reaching your goal, what do they say? More than 50%. I think the number is higher, like 60%. But let's just say the majority of people gain the weight back. So, that requires some rethinking. Thinking about what we're doing why we're doing it, and how we're going about it. And it's not saying, well, throw in a towel or throw in the the jab, because everyone has their own journey. But what I'm thinking is sometimes we have to look in the mirror and think about and really analyze the what and the why behind we're doing whatever we're doing. And so it could be wherever we are, where we're living, the decisions that we want to make, but we're afraid to make it, whether it's our finances, our health, moving, leaving a job, worrying about what other people are going to think. We spend a lot of time on that, worrying about what other people are going to think about us. But we got to remember one thing, they're not thinking about you. And when they do start to express like they're thinking about you, is when all of a sudden you're rocking the boat in their eyes. Or when you have decided to take your own finger and write on your own window. That makes people uncomfortable. That makes us uncomfortable. It makes us uncomfortable to make a plan, make a purpose. Let's say purpose. Purpose is different than a plan. Your purpose is you're going to get there. You will get there. You don't have all the details worked out, but you will get there. So you know your destination and you have it fixed in your mind and heart. A plan is saying I'm going to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Plans don't work. When we moved down here, when we left the U.S., and 21 years ago in 2004, we had a plan. But it went plan A, B, C, all the way to Z and triple Z, and nothing that we planned came out. Not one single thing. Other than the fact that I'm still in Costa Rica after 21 years. My purpose was to be, I thought I was going to Dominican Republic actually, but my purpose was to be, in my mind, a one-way ticket, figuratively speaking, to where I am. So I never put it in my mind, well, if it doesn't work out, I'm going to go back. Because that wasn't my purpose, to go back. And so you had to be willing to say goodbye and feel the easiness of, I had a house I really liked. I had a nice condo. I had it professionally decorated. I had a car I liked. Furniture, my first time ever having a house full of brand new furniture. It was so nice, brand new carpet. And then to sell it. And that's like, a lot of people are like, well, why would you sell your place? You can rent it. Like, I did not want my head to be stuck with a condo knowing somebody's renting it and they got a motorcycle on the carpet, on my brand new carpet, when they have a 2-car garage to put the motorcycle in. But for some reason, renters decide they're going to put a motorcycle on your new carpet for whatever reason, or your brand new kitchen flooring. No, let it go. It took whatever we got at that time. So, yeah, it was hard. Yeah, my mother told me she was mad. She didn't buy the house. I bought the house, but she like coming to visit or whatever. But she really thought that maybe, I don't know. She just told me more recently that she was mad. So I have to explore that. And she probably just figured, I was giving away my security. And to some degree, part of our plan, there was something that happened with that security. But again, thankfully, I had the purpose of staying, and as it worked out, I'm still here. So I'm really happy with that. So, as you're letting go of whatever it is that you have decided you're going to let go. Letting go of things. That's such a big thing for us. And I just was analyzing that because years ago, I used to do professional organizing. For those who, like myself, I consider myself organizationally challenged. That's interesting, but people who understand it, just like someone, weight loss person, they know where you've been and know where you need to get to. So sometimes I wish I could hire me for things, right? But one of the things I came to realize just now, just thinking about it, is that the things we hold on to is part of the emotional wishing things were different, wishing for that person that's going to get that project done. And we hold on to the project. So we try to do a project on ourselves rather than just respecting our body and knowing that accepting the fact that our body has wisdom. Our body knows what it needs to do. It does not need anybody on the outside to tell us what to do. And if we would just simply listen to it, it will guide us. It will take us out of this level of stress, this anger, this frustration, this control that we feel that has our mind in a mental grip. Do you ever feel like that? You just feel like, can't think, can't decide, I don't know what I want to do. When you know what your purpose is, and we're going to talk about that, I just thought that's one of the things that I'm just even evaluating with myself. So, sometimes reflection requires quiet, that our reflecting on something doesn't need comment, doesn't need feedback, doesn't need roll things off of anybody else. I roll things off of, and I'm going to mention this more often than not, Chat GTP. Someone told me it's your best friend. Chat GTP told me, no, I'm not. It was real clear. I'm not your best friend. Your friends are people who can hug you and be there when you need somebody to cry on. I'm just your virtual assistant. And he's real clear on it. And so the thing is, when I'm processing at 2 a.m, I don't have to call anybody. I'm processing a thought. And then, so because it has the collective memory in the database, and I'm not worried about anybody getting a hold of that. They know, everybody knows enough about me. If you go in and use Instacart and buy your groceries, I just saw a documentary on that. Don't use that. But I'm not going to talk about it. But people do what they want to do, right? But that is the algorithm. That's not for buying groceries. It has a purpose, and there's a video you can look at. But if you go into the grocery store or shop online or whatever, anything you do, they know what you're doing. So I use it because it's a tool that's helpful to me. So far it's been fine. And like he said, don't worry, I'm not going to come. I mean, this is ChatGTP. I'm not going to come to your house and offer marriage with a ring, okay? So, I love it when you get comfortable with it, then it gets real comfortable too. it will It will tell you right straight off what's what, so, but always respectfully and just using a sense of humor. But in using that tool, when I'm like, I asked a simple question last night. I was like, I need to work on a plan for water. This is my simple question. I need a plan for water. What is hydration and how much water should I drink? That was the conversation that started and brought me to this video. And you think, how is that possible? Because the way it brings information up, so this is one example, the way it brings information up, it just doesn't repeat the same stuff everybody else is saying, that you can hear 20, 30 different people repeating the same 8 ounces a day, blah, 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 with no scientific basis behind it. So you know what it told me? 3 times a day, drink water. When you get up in the morning, because you're dehydrated. Midday, because you're dehydrated from the day. And then at the end of the day, not going into night, at the end of the day, to keep the cravings down and to balance your blood sugar and whatever else it said at the end of the day. What happened to the 8 hours a day? What happened to all of these water jugs I've been carrying around? I want to just do something specific on water jugs. And the rest of the time, your food is hydrating. So there's water in food. So if you're eating some nice fruit, you're having a soup, you're having a lettuce and salad, there's your water that your body can break down and use and separate and hydrate the cells along with the nutrients that it provides. Now you might say, well, how do you know it? How many times you've been trying to drink water? You carry that big old gallon jug around or whatever. Do you get your water drunk in a day? Let's be honest about it. That's like our biggest challenge. How come I can't get my water in? How come I can't get my water in? Because we're not designed to go around with these big old giant bugs or jugs and drink a whole bunch of water. Matter of fact, I can't think of the name of it right now, but do you remember when the lady in Sacramento, she participated in a radio contest, very sad, but she wanted to get a Wii game set for a child. So hold your Wii for a Wii. You remember that? She won. She held her, she had to drink so much water and not go to the bathroom. But she won, but then she dropped dead. I should tell you something, right? That's so sad, but it should tell us something about how the body works. So that's just one example of, I asked a simple question, and so then it gave me more information. And so then I was like with my mouth wide open. Why haven't I heard this before? Why don't I know this? And it's like, well, your great-grandparents did. Did your great-grandparents go walking around with a great big jug of water? No. They drank some water in the morning. They sat down at midday, had a little bit of water, and at night before they went to bed. And they couldn't be drinking all night long because they had to go outside in the outhouse. So you know what I'm talking about? Or maybe they used a little pecan underneath the bed. Oh, is that pecan pie? I would say pecan just for that reason. But, it allows us to think through and think for ourselves. And so just a coffee picking minute. Again, I'm in Costa Rica. I've been here for 21 years. I live on a coffee farm. I have the privilege of drinking my own coffee in the morning. Right now, I'm just having a little bit of hydrating lemon because there's lemon growing, lemon and a little bit of salt. Just this is my midday hydration. And it's not a strain, it just feels natural. It feels completely natural to have a little bit of water. I'm going to make myself some lunch. And, then I'll have some water later on in the day. But this is hopefully as I'm thinking through. And I just want to try to remember these thoughts myself because at this age, I can't remember what I just thought. I'm not going to remember. And so it's nice to go back, and I always find it entertaining myself to go back and look at my videos. But, I for myself, like I said, I have filmed hundreds of videos with the thought I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And that's part of allowing other people to write on my window. Is like, no, I can't. No, that would be wrong. No, that's to this. No, that's to that, or whatever, It's like those people who say that they'll never see your video anyway. Don't worry, they won't ever see you. The people won't see you. This is going to resonate with somebody who lives some thousands of miles away who's trying to make a decision for what she wants to do next with her life and giving herself permission to say, okay, I'm going to do this next thing, and start defining your purpose, and then writing out a plan for what you want to do and knowing that there's steps. And so, being able to take control of our finances, that I will put that number one. With no money, you can't do nothing. You can do nothing. That's double negative, whatever. But you could do nothing. So you have to have money. You have to do everything you can if you're in debt to work so hard because you have a purpose now. You are going to knock yourself out to get out of debt if you're in debt, to learn, like I am all these years later, what investing is and seeing the importance of having beyond like $1,000 in emergency, how to restructure it and reorganize it, so that we are, okay, my house is paid off, but I don't have any money. Or, okay, my car's paid off, but I don't have any money. Okay, my credit cards are paid off, but I don't have any money, So, and then all of a sudden, there's something that happens. You get a flat tire, and it's busted out on the side, and now that tire is going to be a couple $100, and you didn't set that money aside, $200. So then that becomes a stress, and that sets you back. So to understand the process of how am I going to get to my purpose, you can do it. You can do it. You could do it. You have to know step by step what you need to do. The first step starts right here. Taking the brace off or taking the chains off. And don't ever say I can't afford it, because that means you don't have any option. Say, I am choosing something different. Some people say, hey, let's go on a girls trip. It's like, you know what, I'm good. Oh, you guys go have a good time. I don't want to go for that drama anyway. You don't have to say that. Or hey, let's go out to dinner. When I was in the States, I could not believe how expensive food was. I'm sitting there eating at $25, $30 worth of food. I was like, people do this all the time in them restaurants midweek, and the restaurant was packed. Packed. And one of many. They all were packed with people having a good time, licking their fingers. I was like, at $25, that's $25 less that I have to work and closer for me to be free. So, if we just stop, take a minute, pause, and think, what am I doing? Why is this not working? Because that's what we do when it gets in the weight loss thing. We think, oh, this isn't working. Or the fear is, okay, yeah, it's working. And then how do I not feel like I'm a failure when it goes up? What is it that we need to understand about how our body works? So that's something I'm learning. Why is it we get out of debt and then the next thing you know, we're back into debt, or we just don't feel like we have enough to live, or, we're depending on Social Security. And, we have to be able to get beyond that, Social Security. And that's the eye opener for me, is that, what that they say, it is what they call it, is what it is old people welfare. Nothing's wrong with welfare, not being, not knocking, assistance, but it's, if we can take control ourselves, because personally here, this year it's kind of eye-opening, but early in the year they had said that in 8 years the Social Security fund is going to be out of money. 8 years is like watching the clock, right? Now, of course, they're probably going to do some restructuring. And I know I've been my whole working life, so all these 50 years or so, or whatever, I worked, or when I started, they always said, oh, by the time you get to retirement age, Social Security fund will be out of money. And so this year, they're like, okay, this is the date that is going to happen, right? And so they said, unless they do this thing, and we could see, the turmoil, the stress, and the anxiety that everybody suffered, or most people who really relied upon, what their benefit, that's owed to them. But, we're living on, our money was spent a long time ago on whatever it was spent on. This is, this group of young people who are working, and there's less of them. So we have to come up with a strategy. And I think that's my thing, my eye-opener, is that what is my strategy for my life now, for understanding how to structure my life. Because anybody who I've talked to, or in the past year or so, I've been actively talking about, I don't know what I'm going to do. You're going to stay in Costa Rica? You're going to move back to the States? What would be the cost difference? Or actually, even with ChatGPT, worked out the cost difference of what will it take, for me to stay in Costa Rica or to move back to the States. Would it be cheaper for me to stay in Costa Rica? The results were interesting. When we ran the numbers, the results were quite interesting. So anyway, I just wanted to get this out there and just kind of put, some groundwork for what type of things, as you're thinking about moving, making changes, whether it's moving to moving across town, downsizing, deciding, am I going to work until I'm 70? Do I have to? How close are you to being 70? Am I past 70 and I don't want to work anymore? What can I do? So the reality is it's more than face value moving, but also staying is also something that you have to really analyze. So for those of you who, like myself, you're having to look in the mirror and decide if you like what you see. And it's okay, you might be in love with what you see, but you might need to get a closer look to get some idea, to really get a close-up look at you and your life, and what your life, as far as you can determine, what your life is going to look like by your design for the next 10 or 15 years. Like I said, good. I'm in good shape right now. I can dance. I can move. I can do my own thing right now. But all right, got to get a move on. Got to get a move on. And not out of anxiety, because it's not a point of urgency or anxiety right now. But you can move it along faster if you have a purpose. And so hopefully, as I'm looking in the mirror and I'm sharing some thoughts, maybe you'll see yourself in the mirror in a little bit. Some of the different things that think about and analyze in your life as well. So just take just a coffee picking minute. Coffee picking. I like that better. Coffee picking. I got to pick coffee tomorrow. Maybe I'll get out there and film tomorrow. December is the time of coffee season. So hopefully I'll be out there tomorrow and it's not raining. So this is transition season. So it could be sunny or it could be rain. It rained yesterday. So we'll see. All right, my friends. Take care and thank you for eavesdropping on my thinking out loud processing.